Wait, I'm recording this. That wasn't real?
That is so funny. Just, it went around. I directed a guy named Jerry Jarrett. He was one of Harry Thornton's wrestlers. Well, as years go by, the wrestling ebbed and flowed, and now it's got steam again. One of the big groups is out of Nashville. Jeff Jarrett was the guy that is the ramrod of that. Well, our company got involved with producing those shows down at Universal in Orlando, and I was on one of them, and I said, I've just got to mention this to him, So he came out and said, hey, Jeff, I said, I directed your dad when he wrestled in Chattanooga. And he said, wow, how's that make you feel? I went, oh, very old. That's all I could say. So anyhow, it hasn't changed that much. It's gotten bigger, but again, that was the best way to spend a Saturday afternoon. You would not believe it was fun. So that, another, sorry, sweetie, high point was directing those.
Do you have any Harry Thornton stories?
I don't have a Harry, other than, I guess I'll have to admit, this whole thing started in Chattanooga because of Harry. Because I'm getting out of school.
Where was it?
This was in southern Illinois, St. Louis, the St. Louis area. And at that time, they weren't too hot on hiring new, right out of school. Because it was like, at the time, I think it was like a top 10 market. So I had to go elsewhere. Well, my uncle still does, lives in Ringgold. His neighbor is Harry Thornton. And he mentioned to him, says, hey, I got a nephew just graduated, he's got a degree in mass communications. I'm sure Harry said, what's that? I have no idea. He said, well, have him come down and, we'll see what we do. So, came down, met Harry Thornton. They gave me some scripts, sat me in radio. I read maybe a paragraph off script and said, can you start Monday as camera? So I read an audition so I could run camera for like $36 a week because I only worked like 8 hours for the entire week. And then that just went. And again, my main directive was production. I like to produce and direct. But it just kept going back. Well, he was in school. He's done on camera work. He can do the weather. That was it. Go to Channel 3. I'm directing. Well, there's an opening in the weather department. Neal's done that. He can do it again. So it's like I really haven't had much direction in my career. It just happened. And got to thank God for that. It's been great.
And you worked with Mort Lloyd, is that correct?
I worked with Mort Lloyd. I sure did. And we did some election coverage. I remember, I guess my biggest memory, I was floor directing during election coverage one night. And Mort had been at the station, I guess a whole 3.5 hours that day. And they were doing, the election coverage. And we're wrapping up, So Mart's just rumbling on about, well, our election coverage is done now, and we're going. And the director says, nope, we got something coming in. We're going to have to stay. So I got to tell Mort Lloyd he had to stay. He had to stay and do more TV, And I thought, that's pretty cool, Here, I'm telling Mort Lloyd what to do. That was pretty cool. So, yeah, known some and worked with some, and like I said, it just, as you can tell, it brings a smile to my face.
Did you do any commercials with crazy Neal Miller?
Oh my goodness, yes.
You call him crazy?
We love it.
I worked with Neal Miller. I fortunately did not have to work that closely with him, but I enjoy that. I do remember a quote from Neal Miller, and it was, do you know what I don't understand? French, not one word. So that should pretty well describe Neal Miller. it for some reason said, I got to remember that. That's a good line. I like that. Again, thanks everybody for coming. This has been great.
You got a John Gray story?
I know it. No, because Mark was at the station for 3.5 hours a day. John was there for maybe 90 minutes. You know, pretty much what you saw on TV was all the time he spent there. You know, because again, they wanted John Gray, and John would drag in. Had great penmanship. I never touched the weatherboard at 12 because you could tell what I wrote and what John wrote. Oh, he had a great hand because that was it. No typing, boy. You made the characters up there. And no, John was just a rather private guy. And he came in, did the weather, and left. So I have no John Gray stories, but that was
You did beauty pageants with Betty Mac.
we did. Well, we've done beauty pageants with Betty Mack. Yeah, we did some sport events with Bill Smith. We did some behind the scenes taping with Harry Thornton and a couple of wrestlers one night, which was good. Well, keep getting back to this wrestling thing. Like I said, the directing part was great. It was like a trilogy on wrestling. You had your tiers. You had Roy Welch. He was the big guy. He had the money. He was the executive producer. Then you had Nick Goulis. He was the next tier. He was like the regional producer. And then you had Harry, who was the local producer. So never did meet this Roy Welch guy. But Nick Goulis was always there. And he knew I was the director. So on Saturday, after everybody came from Sand Mountain to set the ring up and go over to the Crystal at...
Why Sand Mountain?
The parking lot was full of Alabama tags. And these people... these people all showed up 2 hours and they built the ring. And I think they paid them off in crystals because they went across the station. And they'd come in, I mean, the studio would reek of crystals. So they'd get that up and, you know, we just, no preparation because, you know, we were in on the preparation. We were going to capture what happened. So it was time for the show, and generally I'd be walking down the hallway that connected the two studios at Channel 12, and Nick would be coming this way. And I'll, you know, he'd see me and go, hey, how you doing? And we'd shake hands. And I'd have a $10 bill in my hand. And I went, oh, how about that? And as Nick was continued to walk down, I said, hey, make it a good show, boys. Okay, that was it. Chairs would fly, blood would be coming down, people would get mad, it just all broke loose. So I kind of got used to seeing that $10 bill coming up. I mean, and again, what they paid at 12, man, that $10 bill, that was like half a week's salary right there. And then some Saturdays, tell me if I'm wrong or if you find this strange. Here comes Nick, here I come. And I go, hey, Nick, how's it going? Yeah, okay. He'd shake my hand. There'd be nothing in it. It was the dullest 90 minutes television that you'd ever... They'd come out, they'd throw everybody around, and they'd leave. It's really strange. That $10 bill seemed to make a big difference in how that show went that week. So that was just part of it. And again, part of my history, and again, just very fortunate that I could be a part of it.
You got a fun career.
It was very much. So thanks again,
Who was your
David.
favorite anchor?
Well, let's see.
Don't worry,
I believe that would be. We'd have to split it because, of course, we were starting co-anchors at that time. I believe, yes, Bob and Jackie. They were the. Yes, they were the epitome.
Did she ever get mad at you?
Who?
Jesse.
Oh, never.
Notice, Fred, you didn't get mentioned in anything.
There was nothing to get mad at.
All I hear is one giant sucking sound.
By the time I got to the news department, Fred had already left the confines of the newsroom and was in the executive level at Erlanger Hospital.
I think it'd be great sometime and get this group together again. 'Cause everybody in here's got a whole lot of funny stories that happened on the air, off the air, before the air, and all this through the years and everything. And it'd be great to have everybody tell a whole lot of the stories that, you know, some of them were disastrous and some of them were funny and all kinds of things like that. And
Oh,
I
don't
think
forget
it'd be great
embarrassing.
to do that sometime. And I got
We
a
do that
doctor's
the second
appointment in about
Saturday
15
in
minutes.
December.
I'm gonna have to- Good to see all of you.
See you, Wayne.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you,
And we
everybody.
get together again and spend the whole afternoon telling
Take
stories.
care, Wayne.
Jernigan's is celebrating the 4th with great buys on Winston patio furniture like this wrought iron glider and vanilla or Grecian for only $129. Come to Jernigan's and celebrate the 4th with us.